Welcome back to the Early Edge presented by BetMGM, the return of the Saturday show. Very exciting stuff. A lot of college action to get through today. Saturday slate, we're going to get you in and out, get the job done. We're here for the team. So let's bring in the recap first, okay? Statistically, will be pretty hard to do any worse than we did on Friday, okay? So we're bringing in the cleanup crew. We can only go up from here. We got a lot of locks for today, and I'm bringing in some awesome guests for the show today. We have Mike McClure here, as always, and Tom Casale, one of our new members. Thursday debut goes 2-0. Now, I know that's a lot of pressure here, but I have a good feeling you can live back up to it. How are we feeling for Saturday's slate today, Tom?
Feeling good. A lot of games, trying to find a couple that have value.
Yes. Yeah, we got a lot to pick from today. Excited to see the whole slate from everyone. Tom, I'm going to give it right back to you. We're going to start with your picks here. Going to Colorado State. I like this play a lot. Tell us what you're thinking here.
Yeah, I hit Colorado State on the opener at 3.5. That line's moved. It's up to around 6 now. I still like them. I like to take good teams returning home off bad performances. And boy, did Colorado State have a bad performance on Tuesday. They led San Diego State by 14 at the half and lost by 16. They scored 11 points in the second half. Now they come home where they've only lost once all season. Colorado State and Utah State played last month. Utah State wins by 5 at home. They made 16 more free throws. Colorado State won every other area. I don't think you're going to see that today. Utah State gets over 50% of their points inside the three-point range. Colorado State, the best 2-point defense in the conference. I like Colorado State to win this game big at home today.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next pick.
Go ahead. Well, you look at
I was going to say, it's one of the games of the day. Auburn 13-0 at home. They've won all 13 games by double digits, right? You got to be crazy to go against Auburn. I'm taking the big number with Kentucky, and here's why. Kentucky's a hard team to blow out because they score so many points. One of the toughest schedules in college basketball this year. They've only lost by double digits once, and that was to Tennessee when they scored 92. So this is going to be a crazy game, back and forth. I know Auburn's tough at home, but close to 10 points you're getting with a talented Kentucky team. I expect them to score in the mid to high 80s today. If their defense can just be a little bit below average and not awful, I think they cover this number, and we should be one of the more entertaining games of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is an awesome SEC matchup that will be a great game tonight. And if you want to bet on this game, you can head over to BetMGM. We have a code for you. New BetMGM customers can sign up today and get $150 in bonus bets. Just place your first wager of at least $5 and you will receive $150 instantly in bonus bets, regardless of your wager's outcome, with bonus code EDGE150. That is EDGE150. All right, before we get to the rest of our picks here, let's hear from one of our sponsors.
The madness doesn't just happen.
Y'all get ready!
And although it's marked on our calendars each year, it's built by moments of mayhem before.
And the crowd goes crazy!
And it begins to bubble long before it bursts. Sure, madness and March may go hand in hand, but it starts right here.
All right, before we get to Mike, he's going to be our ultimate cleanup hitter here, but I'm going to throw in my 2 plays here really quick. I'm going to start with college basketball here. Headed to Iowa, playing Wisconsin. The Sims have Iowa winning here. We're taking the money line in 67% of the SportsLine simulations. This has everything to do with the home and away splits here. Iowa, objectively bad team on the road. I will be the first to say that, but dominant team at home the past 2 seasons, 25-9 straight up. Now you look at Wisconsin, just not a great road team this season, -2 point differential on the road versus +12 at home. And they've lost their last 2 road games as favorites, just 5-6 straight up on the road this season. I don't want to overthink this too much. Just looking into home and away splits here, you can get even money here for the Iowa money line. And then we are headed to college baseball. Okay, I said I was heading into my college baseball era. It starts today with the USCB money line here. UC Santa Barbara we're going to versus Campbell. Now, this seems a little too obvious. The fact that we can get -125 right now on this money line seems a little insane to me. A lot of steam coming here, so act on this now. This game is coming up just shortly after the show. But they beat Campbell 20 8 yesterday. Okay. I'm not saying we're getting a similar blowout here in this situation, but I do think we can still cash this money line here. For UCSB, their starters, actually their closer today. Interesting. Lefty Hudson Barrett here will be starting as a closer, 5-1 last season with 1.92 ERA. And he also did make 4 starts last season, so this isn't completely unfamiliar territory for him. As for the Camels, the Campbell Camels, that is actually their real name. I had to double check that. But they're starting a transfer that no one really seems to know too much about. Can't even find his JUCO stats, his pitching stats really anywhere. And all I know is that he didn't pitch last season because of an injury and was recruited on this team as an outfielder. Okay, so take for that what you will. We are not going to overthink this. This is a big act now play. I think this line will continue to steam. So that's my first college baseball era pick in the books. Feeling pretty confident about that one. All right, before we get to Mike's picks for the final picks of the show, we're going to hear another word from one of our sponsors.
Out there are 2 colossal beings, both forces of nature in their own regard. But in here, as soon as the chute bursts open, the duality of man and beast begins to fade. This is the PBR on CBS Sports Network.
All right, Mike, we got 2 more picks before we head out and enjoy the Saturday. I'm going to hand it over to you. You got 2 players for us. What you got?
Yes, Kens. These are basically some big conference action, not something you typically would see from me on a Saturday even, but I'm headed to the Big 12 to start. I backed Texas Tech on the road against Iowa State. Played this last night at 8. This thing is down to 6.5 now. I think it's a little close to being out of value here. I did make the game 5, but definitely don't play it at 6. If you're going to play it, 6.5 would be the last entry point I would recommend here. Potentially watch the market. I don't see it coming back the other way. I think this was a very bad number when it came out at 8.5. But when you look at what these teams do, Iowa State, the reason why that line opened where it did and why they get so much respect here, they've been phenomenal on their home court, 12-2 against the spread. That is certainly priced in at this point in the season. When you look at the way they want to play, they are an incredible defensive team. They want to play with a little less tempo. They want to play with some physicality. That's exactly the identity of Texas Tech as well. Iowa State's just a little better version of it at their current state. But I think Texas Tech is on the way up, and I think they welcome a clash of this style here. So I think that they can be within 3 possessions, essentially, which is what I need for my bet here at +8. So give me Texas Tech on the road, early tip in Ames, +8. And then my second play, the marquee matchup of the day. Rarely do I get to find an edge that I believe is playable here, but I played 7.5 with Marquette. I actually made this number 4.5, believe it or not. I think both of these teams are phenomenal. There's one thing that troubles me with UConn in this particular matchup. First of all, it's the contrasting styles. UConn plays slow. Marquette wants to push the tempo a little. A lot of that is turning defense into offense. But where I think UConn could run into trouble, depending on the officiating crew here, UConn is very aggressive on the defensive end, and they do foul a lot. Rating outside the top 200 in terms of defensive free throw rate. Marquette, a very good free throw shooting team. But what Marquette does well is they play very disciplined without fouling, one of the best teams in the country in terms of that defensive free throw rate. That's where I think that they can hang around in this game at the free throw line. I think UConn wins it, but I think it's ultimately a 2-possession game. We're going to cash the 7.5 here.
Yeah, I like that. A ton of marquee matchups, a ton of great games that we mentioned today that we have some action on. And we'll put the recap screen up for you to see those all again. Listen, I told you we'd be in and out in here taking care of business. I'm on Iowa moneyline versus Wisconsin, and then heading into college baseball, UC Santa Barbara moneyline as well. Mike is on Texas Tech +8 and Marquette +7.5. Tom Casale on Colorado State -3.5. Kentucky +9.5 versus Auburn. Plenty of action today for your Saturday slate. And that's all we got, guys. We're just taking care of business on a Saturday. We hope you can make some money for your weekend. And with that, this is the Early Edge, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.